We're live. We good? Yes. I think we got a couple different camera angles here too, which is pretty awesome. Jared at Lethal Performance. It is January 14th, 2019. The reveal of the 2020 GT500 has taken place. So, we've been actually a lot leading up to this stuff here. I'm at Cholo Soy here in West Palm Beach. My buddy Clay Starnes owns this awesome taco joint here. Actually has a badass barbecue place as well. So I love the setting here. I just want something kind of like laid back, totally like Anthony Bourdain inspired to come out, hang out, talk some car stuff about this GT500. And I thought this place would be the perfect setting here. So I asked Clay if we could use the spot. And he said, hell yeah. So we're here. We're set up live. So I've got Clay in the house, and I also have a special guest here, and we're going to be talking about the car and racing and just BS and have a good time. So anyways, guys, I want to introduce you to my buddy Clay. Come on over, Clay.
Yeah, bro.
Live. Team Lethal fans, bro. Say what's up. Yo.
What's up, Team Lethal fans?
Yeah. So Clay, really not huge car guy or anything like that, but again, I'm a foodie. And I love great food.
I have a car.
You do?
I have two. You know?
Yeah, exactly, right? They drive? They're not Fords, though, are they?
No, not yet. I do want a Raptor, though. I aspire to have a Raptor. So next year's tax bracket will probably launch me there. You know?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I met Clay, I don't know, maybe, 6 months ago or something like that. And we just chatted and stuff, man. I've known about him. Obviously, I've eaten his food before and stuff. And started coming down here. Has awesome food. It's, like I said, a great setting. So it's kind of something I envisioned for doing our reveal party. And so, yeah, that's it. I mean, Clay's a young professional like myself. I mean, hardworking guy and, successful. And so that's why, again, I like to obviously include people who I'm friends with and help them with their businesses and stuff like that. And so that's why we're here, hanging out Cholo Soy. So real quick, dude, like, how did you, like, the whole food thing, you've been doing it for a long time?
Yeah, man. Like, I started, I guess, like a lot of, like, chefs that have been working a long time in kitchens. It's pretty gnarly business. So when I was, like, 12, growing up in South Florida, we needed surfboards and skateboards and stuff like that, man. So, my mom was like, hey, you should probably get, like, a job or in the summer or something. And she had some leads on some stuff. And I just started washing dishes. And then fast forward, through Italy and Ecuador and New York City and the places I've studied and been and worked. And here we are. I decided to open a taco shop of all things here on Dixie Highway in West Palm, Florida, man. So yeah, that's the short of it, man. This is how we got here,
And, I mean, it's been very successful for you. And you've also just opened up a barbecue joint in Grandview Public, which is another awesome spot, which I'd love to maybe do another video there.
Yeah,
and it's great location. Cool vibe. So, yes, like I said, Team Lethal fans, welcome. It's Monday. We're up early. We've been working hard towards this. A lot has gone on in the last, 24 hours with this whole GT500 reveal. Again, we're just going to have a great time. We're going to talk about some cars, try and bring you some awesome content about it. And I'm excited. So, with that said, I'm going to bring in my special guest. A friend of mine I met a few years back, and you guys may recognize him from when we picked up our Focus RS over at Weichert Ford. He's the guy who started drifting it through the parking lot, doing donuts with. He also came out and drove our GT350 on the track at Palm Beach International Raceway. A very well-known and accomplished professional race car driver, badass, Mr. Billy Johnson. Come on in, bud.
Yeah.
Woo woo. What's up, man? Join the party.
How's it going?
What's going on, man? Yeah. Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude. It's interesting format and stuff like that. Laid back, relaxed. Try to relax.
Yeah, well, I came for the tacos, so where are these things
Where
at?
the tacos at?
They're coming.
I know.
All right,
I know.
excellent.
They're
Fresh
making
tortillas, man.
They're making the tortillas right now as we speak. So
I can't wait. I'm from Southern California, so I love me some tacos.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, Clay, get on that after this, will you?
Will do.
So, like I said, Billy, gosh, he's got a very well accomplished race supercar career starting. I mean, I've looked up him on, actually, believe it or not, this guy is so cool. He's got a wiki page. You find him on Wikipedia. That's big time, man. When you're Wikipedia, I'm not there yet. Possibly at some point in my life, but he's got it. So you look him up.
I want one.
And yeah, and he's been doing this for a long time. I think your career started out in like go-kart driving, like
well, dirt bikes when I was 5 years old, and then got into go-karts.
Okay.
Moved my way into Formula cars, and through scholarships and sponsorships, got into sports car racing and built my career around that, and just moved up the ranks. And yeah, now
here you are.
I'm here with you. So.
Unbelievable. Ford Performance driver. I mean, like even like before that stuff, we're talking about like the Boss 302R you've raced, right? The GT350 RC, is it? As
yes.
well?
So I've had the opportunity to race a lot of Mustangs in the last couple decades. So that makes me feel old saying that. But yeah, the first Mustang that I raced was the FR500C. So that was a 4-valve camera motor. It was pretty much like the 4.6 hopped up. It was a really, really neat motor with the S197 chassis. And then that car over the years morphed into the Boss 302R. And so the bodywork was updated in 2013. And we had that 444 horsepower, awesome engine in there. And then that turned into, after that program was over, the S550 came out. So that's when we debuted the Shelby GT350R, the RC was the race version of that. And that had the flat plane crank 5.2 liter V8 in there. And a year later, we won the championship in 2016.
So that, congratulations!
Thank you.
That's a solid win right there.
And I believe that was the first championship or professional championship in a Shelby car in I think like 4 decades. So that was very, very special to represent the Shelby brand, to win that championship with my teammate and co-driver Scott Maxwell and Ford Performance and Multimatic Motorsports.
Yep.
And then, so now the new Mustang GT4 race car is the current platform. Okay. So I should be racing that.
And that is S550 platform?
Still S550. Okay. So that is basically a GT4 spec car. And in that class, you have like the Audi R8, you have the McLaren 570 racing on Mustang.
We're competing against McLarens and stuff?
Yeah, a little Mustang, pony car, can't turn drag race pony car historically is now racing McLarens. It's mid-engine Audi R8s, mid-engine Porsche Caymans, and there's also Camaro, BMW M4, a lot of turbocharged cars, and the Audi's a V10, the McLaren's a twin-turbo V8. And
stuff, man, I've known about them. Obviously, I've eaten
Sorry about that. I want to see that if we get any questions here. Yeah.
Gotcha. So like the Mustang has just morphed into a like a supercar beater, pretty much, like to be able to challenge and compete against and win against these supercars.
It's crazy.
Is the Mustang's come a long way from being an awesome car when it came out into the 60s to now being like a world-class sports car. And I believe, was it like a year ago that it's like the best-selling Mustang globally in the entire world? So like great for Ford. It's great to be a part of this family, and
of course,
part
man.
of
That's
history.
It's pretty awesome, though. I mean, like again, it's so accomplished, you guys. I mean, again, Billy lays low for the most part in real life and stuff like that. But as a driver, man, this guy, he does it. He does it big. Again, I've been in the car with him when he took our GT350 around the track, and I've watched him race and stuff. I mean, even I was in Portugal over the summer, and I saw him driving Le Mans, like the number 66 Ford GT car. This guy can drive, man. He's got so much experience with these vehicles and stuff like that, and that's why, I want him here with us today. He's also very involved in the testing of these vehicles. He's actually quite tight-lipped about most of the stuff, so which is good in many ways. Not for us, but I mean, I always try and maybe get as much information as I can without getting Billy in trouble. And that's I would like to mention that I'm a Ford guy. I love the brand, Ford Performance. Ford is my passion. The Mustang's my passion, my livelihood. The people that work for me, all of my fans and my customers and stuff like that. around the world. That's it. We love the brand. We're only here to support the Ford brand. So yeah, that's it. I'll try and get as much info as I can out there for you guys about this new car without getting Billy in trouble. But Ford, we're here for you. We support you guys. So yeah, so that's it. So gosh, man, a lot has gone on in the last 24 hours, like leading up to this here, to this like reveal. You know, we're all real curious about. You know, there's been so many rumors about the vehicle, and it's been a long time coming. We've been waiting for a car like this for a while now, and a lot of speculation, even all the rumors and stuff. You know, videos of it early on with supposedly like a twin turbo 7-liter, and people weren't really sure. So we're getting some answers. Right? At least there's some clarity. And like I said, in the last 24 hours, we've seen even like a release of like a brochure, a pamphlet with a lot of the specifications of the vehicle. And now we just actually watched the live feed from the Detroit Auto Show about the car, and they gave us some good info too. So we're going to just, again, have a great time. We've also got, we're going to be giving away a couple of gift cards during this. So there's an opportunity for you guys who are watching to win some money to spend over at Lethal Performance on your Mustang mods. And so as we go along here, I believe Christy's got some codes she's going to put up there. And first come, first serve, guys. So yeah. If you basically, you know, just you're watching and share it up, you know, like it, share it, tell your friends about it, and you have also an opportunity to win some money with us. All right. So, gosh, it's like, where do we even start with the car?
Well,
I mean,
look at all the questions. They're talking about the horsepower. I mean, like that seems to be like the thing. And I mean, like if you look here, they say that they posted it on Ford, and then one guy, you know, so it's
yeah.
like what I mean.
Yep,
Dude,
there's been talk about it. I believe Ford has talked before about, they've confirmed that it would be over 700, which actually they just mentioned here as well, over 700 horsepower. I think a lot of us were really looking for that number. Like, do we want to know? Like, based on, you know, everything else, like the recipe, the weight of the vehicle, the, you know, actually the braking system, the transmission now, people want to know the number, and we really didn't get that clear answer from them. And, you know, there could be several reasons why, but I mean, I personally would like to see that 750 number around that, and I'd be happy really with that. I mean, the last GT500 was what, the 663 or so, something like that, on the 13 to 14 GT500. But we're on a whole new level now, competing against other vehicles out there that are making big horsepower. So it'd be nice to see some clarity on the numbers, maybe on their next like auto show or something like that. But yeah, so that's it. We don't have exact numbers, but 5.2 liter, right?
Yeah.
Cross plane crank. They said 2.6 liter supercharger on there.
Yep.
And what, TVS, Eaton style? Or?
I'm not sure, and I don't believe they
didn't
said
mention.
that either.
Got it. Okay. All right. So supposedly, we got to get this guy some more rum.
That's why I'm drinking water.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So you can't get me in trouble.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, we have breaking news here. Breaking news, guys. We don't have a horsepower number yet, unfortunately. So, but we do have a lot to talk about. So.
I don't want to get myself in trouble, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, so you said it was over 700 horsepower.
Over 700.
I'm going to let you in a little secret.
Okay.
It's over 701 horsepower.
You guys have
it here first.
Breaking news. Breaking news right here. Lethal Performance.
I may have lost my job from that, but
well, over 700 would be 701. I mean,
so I'm going to say and let you know that it's over 701.
Okay, got it. So
honestly, I don't know. Like, so being a part of the development of cars is just a dream come true. Work with some amazing people. I get some publicity here and get to talk to the fans and the community a little bit, but there's so many like really talented people, engineers, hardworking mechanics at Ford who are the real heroes. I am just honored to be able to work with these guys, and I do my part, but those are the guys who work day in and day out to bring these cars to the market.
Yeah,
and it's just awesome to be able to work with them. But having said that, and knowing the inside workings of a lot of things, I truly don't know the horsepower figure.
Yeah.
And there's so much that goes into
right?
the development of the car, emission standards, noise. There's so much that affects the horsepower of the car.
Okay.
The layout of the mufflers, like I said, emissions, you name it. And all those things affect the final horsepower. So because that stuff changes during the development.
Okay.
Like we don't say, oh, it's this horsepower, because that number changes, and then also the target may change. So there's so much that happens in there that thankfully I can say honestly that I don't know, but it is.
Once they have it finalized, once they have like again the car's like final like production, like we've got our like approval for emissions and everything else. Like that's when they say here's the number based on us passing the emissions, passing all this testing and everything else, and what we're going to market it at, and that's how they come up with that final figure there.
Exactly. So there's a lot that goes into that, and that's why often you see weird numbers. Like it's not always a round number. It might be a car could have, like the GT350, it has 527 horsepower.
Yep.
So you could easily say 520 is a round number, but for whatever
purposes
happened and everything, they got 527 out of it. Or it may have been 530, and then something had to change, and it got knocked down to 527. So there's so much that happens late in the process that that final number comes about once all of that work is done. So thankfully, I can't get myself into trouble because I don't know that number. But
of course, we can get you in trouble in many other ways.
All right, excellent.
We're going to get him in trouble.
But it's a lot. Like the car has a lot of horsepower. So over 700 horsepower. That's at least over 50 horsepower more than the Ford GT. So that's and then they did announce that the GT500 has the most horsepower of any Ford ever made, any Mustang, any Ford. So it's definitely
that's a good thing. That's a good thing for all of our people out there, all our fans watching. Definitely, like it's good to hear that we're moving like higher. I definitely like no one wants to be disappointed. You know what I mean? And they want to see like everyone who's also so brand conscious and stands by it. They bleed blue. They're Ford people, die-hard Ford people. They don't want to be let down by this car, especially after waiting for so long and hearing so many rumors about it. You're like, like come on, impress us and show it to us. So it's unbelievable, though. I mean, dude, from where you started to now, you are involved in testing these vehicles for Ford. What an awesome feeling, experience. I mean, guys, it's out there again. I'm not a driver, man. I get in front of a camera every once in a while and do my sales bit and stuff like that. Everyone's got their niche. This guy's job is driving. This guy's job is tacos and barbecue.
I'm excited about the tacos.
Yeah. No, where the tacos at?
So, but one thing I'm curious about, so like, what does all this mean to like a guy like me? Like, I get in this car, right? I get to drive one. What's it mean on like the quarter mile? Like, how am I moving this thing? Because for me, like, I love speed. Motorcycles. I'm into it, man. So like, what's it mean? I get into this thing. Like, what do I expect to feel? I mean, I think people kind of want to know about that too.
So, I don't know. Like going into all those kind of figures to the average guy. Those numbers 0 to 60, they did announce that it's in the mid 3.5,
something like that.
They just said mid 3-second range, so we don't know what number that is.
Super quick,
and that's definitely respectable. But they also said quarter mile time in less than 11 seconds.
Yeah.
So that is into the 10s. So based off of, and again, disclaimer: this isn't me. This is Jim Farley saying that it was quarter mile in less than 11 seconds. So it's a 10-second car. Like that is awesome. But going back to your question, and you can even expand this further into lap times. When you look at 0 to 60s, there's so many ways to measure 0 to 60. Do you have a 3-foot rollout? Do you not have a 3-foot rollout? What surface do you do the acceleration test on? Are you on like a sticky drag racing surface that is going to improve
use those slicks or whatever?
Well, those numbers all have to be like on the factory tires, but like those are just bragging right numbers. Like you can often, we've seen it time and time again. Brooks with drag times goes out and runs a lot of his cars where he beats the factory times on a prep surface. So if like McLaren 720, I think its 0 to 60 is called like 2.9 seconds or so, and he did it like in 2.5 or something on a prep surface. So what matters? Like what matters to the average Joe? Is it what the manufacturer states? What somebody can do? Like, and again with 0 to 60, there's a couple different ways to measure that. So which one matters?
Which is the one that
And
means
then
the most.
you could go into like lap time. So that's my area of expertise is
Lap times.
And driving the cars on the tracks. And when you read magazines, if a journalist does a lap time, does that matter? Does a
pro driver
matter? Does it matter if the factory and their factory drivers was able to turn a lap time? Does it matter what you could do?
Exactly.
And like, so what really matters? And I don't really go on the forums because there's always
because you lay low. You lay low, bro.
I try to lay low, but again, it comes down to what matters, and there's always going to be an angle or something to argue about, or an angle and point to argue for. But what really matters for people for 0 to 60 and lap time. So during the development of stuff like this, for me personally, I used to love all those figures, those hard
0 to
figures.
60s. Yeah,
I read magazines. I had
same here.
Subscriptions to every magazine
in the back. In the back, they had the list in alphabetical
sure.
order of all the cars and their 0 to 60 time and quarter mile time and everything else.
And that meant everything to me. But as I became more and more involved with this type of work, that has actually became less and less relevant for me. And with cars that are this fast these days, like the GT350R, the GT500, the Ford GT, McLaren 720, the Corvette Z06, ZR1, you name it, the Lamborghini Performante and the Ferrari Pista. All these cars are so insanely fast. Heck, forget those exotics. Go to the Mustang GT, the Camaro SS, the Porsche Cayman. These cars are so much faster than like 99% of the people who are buying them.
Oh, of course.
So, like, what really matters? But I think as a car guy, it's just a great day and age to have such capable cars that you can buy. But when you start nitpicking some of these little numbers, like, most people aren't going to get anywhere near the ability of these.
It's funny. I get that question, the 0 to 60 question a lot. A lot of time I'm like, I really don't know. Like, what, when someone sees like Project Goldmember, the car makes like 950 at the wheels and went 930s with the car, and like those are like I base my numbers off of that. But then like I'm asked by, let's say, like a family member or someone I really don't know to be like, what's it do 0 to 60? And I'm like, gosh, I would never even thinking about a number like that for this car, because everyone, what's it mean to you? You know what I mean? Like, is it a lap time? Is it a drag time? Quarter mile? Is it 8 mile? A lot of guys race 8 mile. Is it road course? What's your lap time? I mean, there's so many different things. And like, again, so they say what, mid 3 second 0 to 60 time on this car. I think this car, let's talk, it's going to be not only drag strip, but like what are the times on the road course as well? What are your lap times? This car is set to perform. So there's a lot to go over on this car here. So, I mean,
I'm sorry, I'm going to steal your sweatshirt.
Go ahead. Are you cold?
I think the rest of the country's going to hate us because it's like 60 degrees here.
I know, right?
It's snowing everywhere else.
We're in Florida, and it's chilly morning, but it's all good. And look at that, rocking it, lead the performance right there in the house. So, I mean, let's, I guess, actually, is it time to give out a gift card, Christy? Oh, awesome. Good. Gift cards. Gift cards for everybody. Gift cards. Make it rain. Make it rain. Again, welcome everyone to the Lethal Performance 2020 GT500 reveal after party. We've got Billy Johnson in the house. My buddy Clay Starnes. We're over at Cholo Soy in West Palm Beach, just BSing, talking car stuff, highlighting this GT500 that we've all been waiting for. So we're just having a great time. I hope everyone else is enjoying. If you guys do have questions for me, something that you'd like to know that I can ask Billy or Clay, put it up there and I'll do my best to answer for you, okay? So
what's next?
What's next? I've been seeing a lot of talk about like the car, like some of the things that they did speak about. I mean, we took some notes on the vehicle. The big one of the big things is, again, that was talked about a long time, is the transmission. A lot of guys, man, if they don't make it a manual, I'm not buying it. You hear that a lot. If they don't do this, autos are lame, blah, blah, blah.
That comes up a lot, even like in my like realm, just with my buddies and stuff too. Like when we talk about it, like I had a car and I bought it like, automatic transmission. They're like, oh, but you didn't get the manual. And I was like, well, like, but isn't the technology that good these days? So this is kind of like hitting on that, like what's the deal,
So I'm a car guy. I love cars. I love driving. it's obviously a passion, and I get to do what I'm passionate about. So I'm very, very fortunate. So the debate, automatic versus manual, is definitely a hotly contested debate. Hands down, a good automatic or dual clutch transmission is faster. So if you care about drag racing, it's going to be faster. It takes the driver out of the equation, which is a criticism and negative of those transmissions, out of it, but it goes into gear every single time. And one of the biggest advantages is there's more gears. You can have 7 speeds, 8 speeds, 10 speeds, and when you have more of those gears, you can stack the ratios closer together, so you're at peak RPM or peak horsepower longer. So when you upshift, RPMs drop, and your horsepower drops out from the peak. So the closer you stack those gear ratios, the more you're at peak horsepower.
You lose your power band, yep.
Which means, exactly, you stay in the power band longer, which means the car accelerates faster. That's why muscle cars back in the 70s, they had like 400 horsepower, but they had like 3 speeds.
Yeah,
They had like 4 speeds if you were balling. But when you have gears that are that long, you're in the gear forever, and it takes forever to pull through that gear.
You're winding out the gear. You're waiting. You're not in the car's power band. So I mean,
so there's that aspect of it. So whether it's a road course or drag racing, a good automatic or dual clutch is going to be faster, hands down. Now, again, because you have more gears and because they're tighter together on a road course, you're going to be shifting more. So you're, instead of just leaving gear forever, you're going to have to go through like 2 or 3 gears, whereas a 5 or 6 speed might have only gone through 1 gear.
Okay.
So on a racetrack, when some people say, and also there's a lot of people that do criticize them that don't drive them on racetracks, is, I'm not shifting as much, or it's not involved. Well, you're grabbing that paddle a lot more because there's more gears. So on straightaway, you're going through the gears. There's a lot going on there. Yes, you're not working the pedals and moving a shifter with your hand, but these cars are also really, really fast. Like in a straight line, they're as fast or faster than a lot of the race cars that I drive.
And probably it's doing, like you said, a way more effective and efficient job than the normal guy.
Definitely.
You know, it's fun to have a manual transmission, but let's face it, like the normal Joe isn't a race car driver, doesn't know these things, so like that will definitely get you further faster, without doing anything really,
I think the biggest criticism against those transmissions by the purists, and I have manual transmission cars, and I have a couple that I'm never going to get rid of just because it is a dying breed, and I'm always going to have some manual transmission cars. My daily driver is a manual Mustang GT 2018.
One out front?
Yeah, one out front. But
what happened to the side of that, by the way?
Did you hit it on your way in?
So too many tacos last night.
So I will never get rid of manual transmission cars.
Okay.
But I think the biggest criticism of those are people who just drive on the street and realistically are driving really slow, because you can't or shouldn't be driving like you do on a racetrack or a drag strip out on the street. So when you're just daily driving, when you're just daily driving a car, there's a lot more going on. Moving pedals, moving the clutch, moving the gear shifter, so that feels more engaging and involved because you're not accelerating that fast, you're not going that fast. Yeah. So it's stuff to do while you're on your daily commute.
That sports feeling too. That gives you something that you're doing. You're not just letting the car drive. Which is like easy, I guess. But people like that. I'm a sports car guy. I gotta shift gears. Yeah.
So I think that's probably the biggest criticism for those people that hate automatic and DCT transmissions, because on the street you either leave an automatic mode and you're not doing anything, or even if you do grab the paddles, it is just
you're not doing the clutch and
but if you're driving these 600-700 horsepower cars at speed, you're going through the gear. You're busy.
Yeah,
you are definitely busy. So I think you need to put some of that into context. The people who don't like the automatics, there's some validity daily driving where it's not as involved.
Will they make this car in both?
I can't comment on that.
Do they? I mean, like, what about like the last one that came out? Is it in two?
Actually, the last one, the last GT500 was only manual. It was
Same
not
thing with the GT350.
only manual, and so that's a big thing now. Like on this car, like a lot of anticipation behind it. You know, what are they doing with the transmission? And now we see at least the DCT 7-speed Tremec is an option, but there hasn't been talk about a manual. So it's interesting to see where it's going. I still think it's really exciting. I mean, I'm super excited about the car. Will we get a manual transmission option for it? I guess we'll find out soon.
And somebody's asking, have you driven this car?
Yes, I have. I was one of the development drivers on there, so I've been driving them for.
So to answer the question,
yes,
he's driven the car.
This guy has driven it. He tests cars for Ford.
He's the guy.
This is the guy right here, hanging out.
That's why he's here.
Exactly, right? That's why I get him out here, try and get him to drink some rum.
Yeah,
I know, right?
You guys are just using me for my patio.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
and your tacos, dude.
I was promised tacos.
Come on, man.
I didn't bring those out yet. Wait till the end.
Yeah, exactly. We're working on it. So, the transmission, like, just back to it, because again, like, I personally don't have like a ton of experience with it. That is what a DCT is. What's in the Ford GT, which you've driven as well and know very well. How does this work? The transmission, for people who don't know what DCT is.
So a dual clutch transmission is it's not an automatic transmission. It actually has gears. There is no torque converter. It has proper gears that are spaced out, and there's dual clutch transmission. There's two clutches. So instead of a normal transmission like a manual or the old style single clutch like BMW SMGs that had just one clutch, where clutch goes in, the gears disengage, you're not accelerating, the gear shifts, and then the clutch re-engages in, and you're going in the next gear. A dual clutch transmission has two gear stacks and two clutches, dual clutch. And you're in one gear with the clutch closed, accelerating, and then as you're near red line, the next gear grabs as the gear you're in releases. So it is a seamless change of gears. In the announcement, they said that it does gear shifts in less than 100 milliseconds, and it is
that
seamless. And
compared to, let's say, like, I've been driving the A10, the 10-speed transmission from Ford in our 2018 Mustang GT. That's a 10-speed auto. How is that like I don't know what they rate that as far as shifting, but that thing shifts super fast through all the gears. You get 10 gears, it's banging through gears like crazy. Is this like, you're talking like super fast, even better performance than a transmission like that as far as the time for shifting and stuff?
I don't want to speak out of turn, and I don't know what the official shift times are in the automatic, but just going off of and automatics have, like, each transmission has strengths and weaknesses.
Okay.
And a pure automatic has some strengths and weaknesses compared to DCT and vice versa. But I'd say there's a reason that DCTs are in all the hypercars, supercars, exotics, Ford GT, and that's just because it is more of a direct, more like a manual.
Okay.
So automatics are getting better, and I would expect in the future they may even overshadow DCTs altogether. But right now, DCTs still have more advantages than disadvantages for proper sports cars, like the Ford GT, like most of the supercars, and now the GT500.
So, I mean, you said you've driven both. You've driven a 10-speed auto car and that. I mean, how do you feel, just your personal opinion, how do you feel like one to the other? I mean, is it like a noticeable difference on one or the other? I mean, do you like prefer one on the other is for different application, or?
I'd say they're different. I like I said, I think for track use and drag racing, I think the advantages of the DCT are better, so I do like it a little bit more than the 10-speed automatic. I love it in the Ford GT, so I do think it's a good choice for the platform of the car.
Got it. So how many the DCT in the Ford GT is how many, like the ratio on it?
It's also a 7-speed.
7-speed. Okay, got it. So
cars.
Is it like, again, how do we know how different it is from one to the other? Like as far as the transmissions that's being used, is it the same one that's being used, or is it different variation with different ratios? Or?
Yeah, different gear ratios because you're dealing with a turbocharged V6 with the Ford GT, while the 500 is a 5.2 liter supercharged V8. So naturally, you're going to want different gear ratios, and also the GT is a mid-engine car, while the GT500 is a front-engine rear drive. So that configuration's quite a bit different. So the only real commonality is the design in terms of being dual clutch transmissions.
So if we're going to give the Siskel and Ebert rating on the new DCT that you've tested or driven on the GT500, are we giving it a 2 thumbs up? Is that
4 thumbs
up?
4 thumbs up. For me. So,
nice. Awesome.
And one thing that I will say subjectively, and something that I'm really excited about for the GT500 is the work that the guys at Ford have done with the automatic shifting strategy, shift logic. Now, in a lot of magazines, like, what would you say is the benchmark for an automatic or dual clutch PDK kind of transmission? Like, what? I mean, anything that you've read, what?
When I think of it, I mean, I hear always Ferrari is at the top, and like BMW's transmissions, stuff like that, McLaren's, cars that have like talking supercar stuff, or what people base their their knowledge about. That thing's so fast it shifts us in like a millisecond, blah 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 blah. Those cars are, at least from what I've read,
So in terms of the shifting logic, I'd say Porsche's PDK has been highly regarded as you don't need to shift. The shift strategy is so good that you don't need to shift yourself because it's smart enough to know what gear you're in better than you are. And I would have to say that they probably are the benchmark, although another car that doesn't get enough credit is the Acura NSX. Those guys did a really good job with their systems integrations and their shift logic. So I think that car deserves a little bit more praise, especially for the transmission shifting logic than it gets. So like Porsche PDK and the NSX, I think are 2 of the best shift logics out there. And there's some journalists that say that it's better than what a driver could do. I would agree that it's better than probably 99% of what drivers can do, but it's not as good as what like a professional could do in terms of knowing exactly what gear to be in.
Got it.
I'd have to say that the GT500, the shift logic, when to shift, is better than those 2.
There you have it. That's pretty solid, guys. That's there you go.
That's like an official statement.
Yeah. Yes. Ford, baby. What's that? I know. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, the rum kicked in. The rum you're not drinking kicked in. What we put in that water? Yeah.
That is water.
Yeah. But that's awesome, though. It's great news, man.
Yeah,
it's so awesome to hear. We want to hear that type of stuff. I mean, everyone's waiting to hear this type of stuff. How awesome is this car going to be?
So when you're on a racetrack, you could leave it in automatic mode, and it's like with me driving it, it's not any slower for me to leave it in the automatic shift mode versus me shifting it myself. Really? So the guys that put in hours and it's easy to tell transmission when to shift. It is really difficult to refine it to the level of Porsche's PDK and the NSXs, and Ford did it. So
pretty awesome.
I am like it's just so exciting.
I mean, this answers the question, for a guy like me, and like all the guys that are here on your page and all. This guy's like a legit race car driver. First time I've ever met him, but if he's saying that the auto is just fast as lightning, then like okay, well we got it then. There's the technology. He says it's better than it's ever been compared to the top cars. I mean, why would you manual transmit? Okay, for fun. No, it sounds like this is like the better option to have.
Roll. Yep.
I still like shifting myself because again, that makes it a little bit more engaging. But for people who are going to take their GT500 to the track and for it being so fast, instead of like, what gear do I need to be in?
Right. Not everybody's got that level of experience that you have, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, if we're hearing this from the top, then I mean,
it's awesome.
I don't know.
And I also would have to give your viewers another insight.
Yes. Breaking news live on Team Lethal page. We have something from Mr. Billy Johnson here. What do we have?
It's cold outside.
I know, right? I'm shaking over here, man. Seriously.
I would say that the traction control system is awesome. So the work that these guys have done with the electronics and the systems integrations of the car is just continuing to move the bar higher and higher. So again, I really like the car. It is awesome on a racetrack, and yeah, the transmission for a DCT, it is really good. And also the ABS. So
yeah, braking.
I talked about this a little bit for the announcement of the 2019 GT350. So coming out this year, there was a revised ABS program and strategy, and I'd say that revision for the 2019 GT350 puts Ford's ABS at the top of the ABS strategy for any of the other cars out there that we've competed against and that I've tested and driven. So the GT500 also has that ABS strategy. So Ford's raising the bar. The car trail brakes, the 2019 GT350 and the 500. The ABS is awesome. You can drive it down into a corner, and it doesn't just plow and understeer off the track. It tucks the nose. It gets down to the apex, and that has to do with the development and technology from racing that has come to the street. And Jim Farley has talked about the people working on the GT500 are the Ford Performance people that won Le Mans, and they're bringing that technology to the street. And I've seen that hundreds of times in press releases from various manufacturers, and that's a big marketing thing. Oh, race car technology for the street. But Ford is actually doing it. The people who are working on some of the race program stuff are working on the road car stuff, and the development of stuff like the ABS on the race car, the Mustang GT4. It's like the race car does this. We like that. That's incredible. Yeah. The road car stuff is not to this racing standard. How can we make the road car to the standard of this race technology? And that's what they
pretty awesome, man.
And that's what they did. Yeah. And it really is. The 2019 Ford GT350 is awesome with the ABS. The GT500 is right there with it, and it makes a huge difference on track.
Ford, I mean, it's so awesome to hear this stuff about. I mean, I feel like I'm tied into with the right group. You know, the Ford. Again, this is my life, my passion, my livelihood. I chose Ford, and I felt actually really good about it over the last several years as well. I mean, the way, even though things are changing so much, I definitely feel like there are still dude, like you're talking about the technology, always wanting to improve it and stuff like that, and bringing us better vehicles, and also still, I mean, while things are changing, making this new car happen, because with all this stuff with emissions going on. They're cutting, down, again, on the emission stuff is real big. Where are they going? Where's the future of our industry going with that? And to see them actually come through and follow through with a car like this makes me feel good. How long will it last after that? We don't know, but let's take it and enjoy it while we have it, especially that they're doing such an amazing job with these vehicles now, with putting so much time and effort into it with, again, no idea when the show is going to end. But I like what they're doing, and I'm glad that it's here. So, well,
the future is smaller displacement turbocharged cars. So to see another big displacement supercharged car is definitely unique.
How many more of those are we going to see? Yeah. You know what I mean? We're going to keep on going EcoBoost, which again, by all means, I mean, awesome. Ford GT, sick car. I mean, Raptor, awesome truck. Even listen, the 4-cylinder EcoBoost Mustang, we've seen the guys over at UPR run 9s with a car like that. I mean, it's also, you've got the whole EcoBoost line of trucks. They showed the new,
Explorer
ST,
400 horsepower.
Which is sick. That's definitely a sick soccer mom grocery getter vehicle. I like what they're doing.
Super quick.
The soccer mom sticker on the back, but it's good stuff. Again, to see, like you said, the biggest thing is that the big displacement, supercharged, raw horsepower. I would love to hear the vehicle. I can't wait to get it.
Well, on the announcement for the 500 on the live stream, like you heard it in there. That's what it sounds like. It sounds awesome. I love the sound of the car.
So that basically the sound like on that intro where like the video game stuff, or was like like the
so when you
CGI
hear
stuff.
the exhaust note, like that is the exhaust note. It's loud and it sounds mean.
Awesome. It's like I remember back I just watched the other day, like I Am Legend, when they were just releasing that 2007 GT500. You know, and you get to hear it driving through Will Smith, driving through the city, and you know, and that was how the car sounded, and it gave you an idea what it was like. Well, that's the truth. You just heard it too with the Ford's intro at the Detroit Auto Show. You heard the sound of it, and from what Billy says, it's exactly what it sounds like, you know, when you're driving the car. So, yeah, awesome stuff, awesome stuff. Where are we going, man? What are we doing? We giving away gift cards and stuff? Everyone having a good time out there? Do we have any questions, anything special that we got to ask here or answer for?
They asked where's the rum we're talking about.
The rum. Where's the rum?
Still talk about the transmissions. I mean,
yeah, there's a lot. I mean,
so as far as the transmission goes, I've heard a lot of people say, oh, they'd love to have a GT350, but they don't drive stick, or their wife won't let them buy the GT350 because the wife wants to drive the car.
And they don't drive stick, right?
Yes.
My problem exactly with the last actual car that I have. I have a truck now, but it was the same thing. And I was just like, but it was still super quick is my point. I had like a Volkswagen GTI. It was super sick, but it was automatic transmission, and the thing flew. And that was why my biggest question is because all my buddies with Subarus and stuff or whatever, they'd be like, oh, but how could you not get it? I was like, I don't know, man. It's super quick and like works really well. I never have to worry about skipping a beat, dude. It's quick, super quick.
While I love manual transmissions, I hate manual transmissions in traffic.
Oh,
yeah.
So if you're driving the car for real, and it's your car to drive, then it's terrible.
So growing up in Southern California, LA traffic sucks.
Oh yeah.
Florida traffic down in Miami is miserable.
It gets bad up here too during
not like LA, but you know, just to be fair to how crappy it is down there.
I remember that. Yeah, it's horrible.
So
you're on that clutch and like non-stop,
the arm,
popping it into neutral.
Yep. So I definitely think, and again, there is a reason why manual transmissions are dying off. So, but I wonder how many people who didn't get GT350s are now, because of those reasons, are now like, oh man, like wife said I couldn't get a 350, I'm getting a 500.
Yeah.
So what was the price point on the car that you were talking about, the GT350, when it came out? We were kind of BSing about it a little bit. So how much, like if I want to go out and get a badass Ford these days, what's it?
The GT350s, like the non-Rs were probably what, like the 60 range, 50, 60 range?
Well,
and then
the very first year, it was like for the no option base car, it was like $49,999.
Okay.
And then more realistically, I think it was high 50s for non-R.
Yep. And then like with the, they have different packages and stuff, which they've changed over the years.
Yeah.
Like some were like more track oriented, and then they have like the the street version, the technology package that has a little more of the bells and whistles for daily driving. Then they have the R version, which is like the race, track version with the carbon fiber wheels and some other things, different exhaust to it. And those, I mean, we've seen even like crazy prices on those early on. I mean, like major dealer markups on that stuff. And gosh, you're bringing that to now. I mean, no price has been talked about for this new car. I mean, there's a lot of speculation. I mean, me personally, I would think with everything that I've seen so far, I mean, I could probably see us like at it. I mean, is it too far-fetched to talk about like an $80,000 Mustang or higher? You know what I mean? With all optioned out. I mean, it's
the cost of things these days, and I assume that they're putting higher quality manufacturing pieces into these vehicles. Is most vehicles these days.
Oh yeah.
All prices are way different than they were in what, 07 or whatever the hell you guys are talking about.
Yeah,
It's like,
my 03 Cobra when I bought it was like $35,000 new. I mean, obviously that's
you have to look at the price
ago. Yeah, everything is changed.
Big time.
Yeah,
same in food and anything else.
Yeah, of course. But
people always
amazing.
complain about it. It's
people
like, it's so expensive.
I think it's always. I don't know how realistic it is, but like if you just go to I think it's inflationcalculator.com, and it's like how much was a dollar worth back in 2007. And if that's real, it's like holy crap. So
100%.
That's like I think people lose track of that, and depending on how old you are. Like when I got my first car, it's like, man, these the equivalent of like a regular Mustang would be like a $30,000 car. So how can a Mustang be $50,000?
Yeah, I know, right? It's for a Mustang.
You told me that like $80,000. I was like, for a
and
what?
people are buying pickups for $100,000.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's like when you talk
all
about that,
relative in a
you
way.
got to put it into context.
Perspective,
That
yeah, of
everything
course.
is just getting more
Of course.
expensive.
Hey,
so.
look, I mean, listen, our last GT500, our 2013 GT500, I think that was we paid over $60,000 for the car. I mean, and the car was awesome. So, and that was what? How many years ago? You know what I mean?
So how much is that
5, 6 years ago?
Technically worth?
Yeah,
now?
exactly. Now, you know what I mean? So I can definitely see it.
I don't know. I need to look that up, but that may be like $70,000 now.
Yeah, exactly.
Are these cars like kind of like collectible in a sense at this point, this day and age, or like do they hold their value?
Shelby's
like,
do hold their
how's
value
it work these
really
days?
well.
The Shelby's, yeah.
Yeah, the brands of Shelby's. So you can look back to like the first or the GT500 from mid 2000s. Like they hold their value pretty darn well.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but you know, it's like again, we're waiting on it. We want to see what these things go for. I mean, we're gonna get one. Definitely, we're gonna get one, and I'd love to have you come out and thrash on it on the road course and stuff, and we'll do like a rent out the drag strip and the road course, and we'll have a wonderful time, and you could show me the things you've learned from test driving the car on our own car. That'd be pretty awesome.
Yep.
So that's our plan. We're definitely gonna get one. Just looking forward to seeing that price, you know, and man, when are we gonna be able to order them? When's the order guide coming out? You know, we're looking forward to it. We want it. So, and for that, we're going to go to our guy, Philip Weichert over at Weichert Ford, Lake Wales. He always hooks us up. Great peeps. And pretty much all of our cars we got from him. So, we hit up.
So that's where I need to go for my next truck.
Of course, man. Yeah, Philip, definitely, man.
After this, I'm tomorrow, next week, dude. Let's trade my truck. Let's get a Ford, dude.
Yeah. Everyone joining in now, we are here at the Lead Performance 2020 GT500 reveal after party. We just watched the Ford, release in the Detroit Auto Show. We're chilling out over at Cholo Soy, West Palm Beach. We've got my man Clay Starnes in the house, Billy Johnson, myself, Lethal Jared, and we've got Christy over there who's running the whole show. Thank you so much. I hope everyone is enjoying. Next topic that we're doing, we've talked a bunch about like the transmission and stuff like that. Power output, stuff like that. You're talking about the braking, the ABS. The brakes on this thing look massive. You know, I saw like some of the specs that they had on the sheet here were like, you know, the size of them. The 6-piston fronts, 420 millimeter. This in this leaked, pamphlet. The rears look like a 370 millimeter, 4-piston rear. I mean, just massive brakes. So performance and handling.
Unfortunately, I can't comment on that because that's not.
This could be
official.
Completely fake.
Yes, but since they did show a picture of the video of the car and the car on the stage, I do have to say those brakes are massive. And a very technical comparison is the brake caliper from the top to the bottom is as big as my elbow to my top of my fist. Like this is how big that caliper is.
Break out the tape measure, guys. Come on now. We got
so scientifically. That's the caliper.
That's insane.
It's almost as tall as you.
That's crazy.
So,
wow.
It is a gigantic.
So the braking on it, handling. I mean, it's just like this thing will just get on it. Even though and making a ton of power, and you're talking about the driving it. I mean, into the corners and stuff. The ABS technology. I mean, they've set this car up to perform awesome.
So they did say in the announcement that this. I'm gonna just double check.
Double check. He's checking his notes. You don't want to get in trouble over here. Billy's smart. I'm not. I'm going to try and get him in trouble. Not really. I don't want to see anyone get in trouble, but.
Taking a quote, not my words, taking a quote, Jim Farley, most downforce out of any Mustang.
Okay.
So, not my words, Jim Farley's
words.
Most
Jim
downforce.
Farley, thanks for those words, man. We appreciate it.
In any Mustang. The car that they showed at the North American International Auto Show had a wing on it, big splitter in the front.
Okay.
Most downforce of any Mustang. So more downforce than the GT350R.
Got it.
And GT350R made a good amount of downforce, and it was really fast on the racetrack. The car that they showed has a big wing, and that wing is basically the GT4 wing from the car that I race in, that I'm going to be racing in 2 weeks at Daytona. And the GT4 wing is essentially the same profile as the wing that was on the Ford GT that won Le Mans. Yeah. So, again, when Ford says this is race technology that's going on the road, that wing that won Le Mans turned into the GT4 wing, which turned into
the GT500
wing. So, you have technology and you have DNA from a Le Mans winning Ford GT in that GT500. I think that's pretty special, and the fact that that is the wing that they showed. Again, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's obviously that's
it. It's the real deal.
So wing and that wing is the real deal. That thing is legit.
That's awesome.
The fact that they put like a proper race
On a
wing,
production
like
car.
the Ford GT or the GT350R wing made a lot of downforce, legit wing, awesome. I love those things. They look fantastic. But when you have a full span race wing from a race car that is now on the dealership floors, that's pretty cool.
It's just, again, stepping their game up, competing with, again, some of the top, manufacturers out there. We're a domestic vehicle that's performing against, like, major, like, import, the European sports cars that go for crazy amounts of money. I mean, guys have bought, spent huge money on these cars, the McLarens and the Ferraris and Lamborghinis to perform on a track, and you're getting a domestic vehicle, a Ford vehicle with technology that's competing with vehicles like that.
I really like for the GT350R, which I was also played a part in the development of. I really like to see the fact that there was a lot of Porsche people, GT3 owners, buying GT350Rs because the GT350R was as fast as a 991 GT3 on track for way less than half, almost a third of the price.
Crazy.
So it was really neat, and it drives awesome. It is a very pure, great handling car, and when you think great handling race cars, sports cars, like Porsche is right in that realm. And when you see all these Porsche guys buying GT350Rs, I think that was awesome. And then going for the 500, it is just at a different level. So I'm very eager to see what everybody thinks of the car.
I wish we can go out and drive in one right now, man. Go and tear it up. Or have you drive, because I can't drive.
I don't know if I'll ride with you.
Yeah. I'm not that bad. I mean, come on. Yeah, seriously. Clay's all right, too. You drove all right, when we went to get the coffee earlier.
Yeah, that worked out.
Yeah.
That was a nice coffee run.
Definitely.
Coffee made it back, so I appreciate that.
Did in like 12 minutes flat. It was sick.
Let's see. Any other major...
性能はっていうか、これがこの緑から赤いとこに来なければダメだという。何がどうできないんですか。これをですね、ここでも詰まってしまいますよね。詰まりますね。はい。で、これがこの紐がここからついてるんですよね、根っこから。はいはいはい。こっちもですね。はいはい。抜けませんよね。はい。まずこれ通らないですよね。これね。これも取れない。もういけない。これを裏に通そうと思っても通らない。ギリギリのとこでね。はいはいはい。どうも。山本名人でございましょう。どうもはじめまして。日本中の協会の山本でございます。はじめまして。金属の輪が、まず緑色の玉の方にあります。これを何とかして、赤い玉の方に動かします。で、穴は動きません。でも、紐がそれなりに緩みがあって、長さがあるんですよ。ここがこの知恵のミソでして、僕らいろいろ考えましたね。まず、つながっている紐の中央部をかぶせます。ここで、両側の紐を引いてもらって、ちょんまげ頭のようにこういう形になります。この時点でこの鉄の輪を中央の輪を通してこれ持ってきます。ここの時点でこの輪を戻す。中央の木の穴から向こう側へ出します。こうなります。 こで初めてもう一回2つの方。そしてさっき入れたやつを反対側から戻します。